In this video, I'm going to show you how to play the three most basic jazz chords on the guitar. Now, these three basic jazz chords will be able to cover almost any jazz tune because there's really only three main families of chords. And let me go over this. When you break down all the chords, they fit, or I should say function, in one of three type or families of chords. Now, the first type is a major type of chord. Second is a minor type of chord. And the third is what's called the dominant type of chord. Basically, these three types of chords will allow you to cover any kind of a song. I mean, it might sound a little basic, but you can get through playing any song with just these three types of chords. And specifically for this video, just to keep it simple, I'm going to show you how to play these three basic chords where the root note is all taking place on this low E string. So the root note will always be there. Okay? So here we go. The first one is a major type of chord. And whenever you take a major chord, and I'll build all these on G. So this will be a G major. You're going to play this note. You're going to play this note. And you're going to play this note. Just three notes. Now you might be asking, well, what do you do with the other three strings? This one, and this one. And the key to playing these chords is you have to figure out a way to mute these three notes, because for these basic chords, we only want three strings to ring out. Now, there's some techniques on how to do that, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But for now, just know this is the form or the pattern you'll want to know whenever a chord is major. So this is a major chord. Okay? So next is a minor chord. Whenever you encounter a minor chord, we'll build it on G as well. This G is the same because remember, this will be a G minor. This is the root. It'll never change. And then these two notes, remember these two notes here? They're just going to shift down to the same fret. Like this. And once again, you don't play these three strings. This is kind of confusing, so let me write this. X, you don't play those three. This is the minor pattern. Minor. Whenever you encounter a minor chord and you want it to sound jazzy, this is the form you're going to play. And the last of these three of the most basic jazz chords is the dominant chord. For the dominant chord, it's actually one part major, one part minor. This note here is going to shift up to there. Let me erase this part. All right, come on. Yes. So this form here is the dominant. So with those three chords, as you're changing this around, this root note around, you can basically play like any jazz type of sounding chords. A song, I should say, just using those three patterns. So let me show you an example of this. I'm going to now combine a little bit of our number system theory that I use for all my videos and incorporate these jazz chords into it. So let's say we are in the key of G. So remember, you can go check out the other videos, but this is what I would do is I would create the major scale on this E string. So if I'm in the key of G, this fret is a G note. That would be my 1. And then I would go and number the intervals to create this scale. Now 1, 2, it's just simply a major scale. 3 would be here. 4 would be here. 5 would be right there. 6 would be here. 7 is, my fretboard's not long enough, but 7 is basically one step lower than 1. So 7, I'm going to go play a lower octave there. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in jazz, a very common progression is what's called the 2, it's called the 2, 5, 1 pattern. And with a little music theory, and you might want to watch my videos on the number system theory, progression theory, but 2 chords are by default minor. 5 chords are by default dominant. And 1 is by default major. So that would put me here. This 2 chord, if I were to play this, I would make sure the root is on the 2, and I would play the minor form of this basic jazz chord. So like that. I would play this chord, then I would move to the 5, which takes me up here where the root is 5, because remember, we're playing everything on one string as the root. So I have to kind of shift up and down for now, but this is the easiest way to get started. So 5 chord here, root's there, but it's a dominant chord for 5, so I would play my dominant pattern. And then I would shift over to the 1 chord, which is here, and 1s are by default major, so I would play my major pattern. Like that. So 2, minor pattern, 5, dominant chord pattern, and 1, major pattern. What I really like about this with the jazz theory is, even though it's just 3 chords, 2, 5, 1, 3 of these chords cover all 3 types of basic jazz chords. And so this is a great way for you to get started. Now, I want to go back one more time and tell you, all these chords are played without this A string being played, this B string being played, and this high E string being played. Now, one of the ways you can do that is just by using, let me draw a hand here. Little hand. One of the ways you can do that is by not using a pick and putting your thumb on the low E string and plucking the D and G string with your index and middle finger. Or another way that I like to do it is for you to continue to use a pick. So you're pinching the pick between your thumb and index finger. And what I do is pluck the D string with my ring. So this is D string, and pluck this G string with my ring finger, this is G finger. Yeah, there you go. And these two use a pick. Whoa. This is also the kind of the form that you use to what they call chicken picking. But I love it because you don't have to, you know, either figure out a place to put the pick and play this. And let's say you go to a lead and you need the pick, then you have to go and get it back. This way it allows you to, you know, play strum, actually play leads, and play these jazz voicings with the pick and the fingers. But it's going to take a little time to get used to. But if you want to get into jazz and start playing chords that sound a little more colorful than just major and minor chords, this would be a great time for you to learn.